Hey, it's Pops, and let me do a quick movie review for you. Movie Old, M. Night Shyamalan is back with another mystery thriller. It's been in the theaters for a minute. I had a chance to finally catch it, and I want to give you the rundown on that, see if you would like it or not. Check it out for yourself. So, the movie Old, yeah, that's right. So, the premise of the movie centers around a family of four. They're going on this amazing oasis island vacation together. There's two kids. The youngest boy is 6. I think she is 11. And then, of course, the parents. And there's some tension in the air. They're on this vacation. Nothing seems very natural. Um, Trent is the young boy, and he is have a hard time relating to other kids, but finds one there on the island that kind of he becomes a friend with. And the parents is revealed are definitely struggling or headed towards some sort of divorce. And there's some allusions to some other health problems that she has. Then you fast forward to a scene where the curators there at the hotel approach the family and ask them about their different activities, things that they're interested in doing, and offers them this quote exclusive chance to go to this isolated beach for the day. So that's where they go. M. Night, of course, likes to make cameos in his movie in Hitchcockian ways. He tends to have a lot more dialogue than the master. Drives them out to the beach, and there they see another individual. Some other folks arrive. Those kinds of things. So the premise of the movie is pretty well spoiled in the trailer. Actually, some of the best parts are at least alluded to in the trailer, so it kind of really takes away from the effectiveness of the film. So if you have not seen the trailer, you'll probably enjoy the film a little bit more. The premise of the movie is that on this beach, you cannot escape the beach, and time has been sped up. So there's definitely several conversations. There's a lot of tell, not show. There's a couple efforts to leave the beach because there's giant, massive cliffs around it, and they try to walk through and get out, and they're kind of always thrown back in, dizzy, like they pass out and that kind of thing. So, spoilers are ahead. So if you don't want spoilers, dip out here. It's an entertaining film. Like I said, trailers ruin it. It's entertaining. It's not great. The twists and turns definitely don't quite pay off as much as some of his other films do. So let me dive a little deeper with the explanation there, and that is, so you have several different characters, and because time has sped up, immediately you start to have death, right? So the older the character, their life is being sped up, the sooner they're going to pass away. There's also a dog, and through these moments, you're seeing the kids are aging faster, and there are little innuendos and hints. They're trying to piece this together, trying to do some math in their head about, so many minutes equals this much time, blah, blah, blah. And you see some different characters reacting very erratically. Confusion, of course, and frustration. There's a character that was in an earlier scene, and then she passes away. And of course, you're seeing the body has decayed, and there's a shock factor of, okay, this is really scary and overwhelming. There's a couple efforts to escape, but this cliff is just this massive thing. So that's pretty much the premise of the film. It's like, can we get out of it? How do we get out of it? Who can survive? And their character development. So it's really a very character-driven thing with some of the tension being built around. There's some confusion with the kids, spoiled in the trailer. I thought that was, and Alex Wolff, who is Spencer in the new Jumanji films. He plays the teenage Trent, and he is by far the best actor in the film. There are a couple decent performances, some moments, but the cast really was average, kind of below the M. Night sort of performance standard. And maybe that has to do with the script because it seemed flat and uneven at times. But it's okay. I mean, the tension's there. It's moving you along. You're interested. You're engaged. You care about most of the characters. M. Night, at this point in his career, kind of suffers from his own reputation. Like, there's twists and turns. So even if you don't know exactly how this is going to play out, there's going to be more to the story. So that's okay. It works out okay. So heavy spoilers. If you don't want to go further, I understand. I'll really get into some of the twists and turns. But again, I would say this is a mediocre film. Not anywhere near his top-notch films. It's not as bad as The Happening or anything like that. I think that's his worst film by far. Well, the Avatar movie, I guess, is his worst film. I forget about that film. It's so bad. Yeah, but he wishes he could forget about it too. But it's still entertaining, and it's, it's not. He gets a little more. He tends to be very clean, and this one tends to get a little bit edgier at times, but not ever bad. It's not gross or really over the top. It's really creepy at a couple spots. But then you get into these unexplained plot twists and turns, how the character would know what to do to just, trusting the message from when these were little boys, and they become friends, and they were exchanging notes, and the note was a clue, and understanding what the note really meant. It was just so contrived. And then that last few minutes of the movie feels like a mess. I feel like it's sped up, it's rushed, very clunky. The twist is revealed. It's got this big pharma twist, like people are using this as an experimentation tool, people that have these debilitating diseases. So therefore they can go on a medication or a treatment. It's sped up in time so they can see if something will work. So for instance, one of the characters has epilepsy. She's given medicine. She doesn't have a seizure for I don't know, so many hours. Let's say, I don't know, I forget what it was. Let's say 8 hours, but on the island, that equivalent, it gets to 13 years or something. I don't know. Anyway, reality is that's the premise of the big twist, right? You're on this giant experiment. Really didn't care for the execution of the twist. I think they could have done a little more with giving maybe another 5 or 10 minutes to have all of that sort of better cut and interwoven with the characters trying to escape the island through the coral and stuff, and maybe cut out some of the other death stuff drawn. Rufus Sewell has a good role at times. He's psychotic, and he's having a psychotic break because obviously his timeline's being sped up. There's also just not. There's one moral moment where one person says, should we be doing this? Maybe we should keep the mental patients away from the regular patients because he snaps and he's supposed to kill people. And I'm like, well, maybe the moral question should be, should we do this to people? The evil of it all is very, we skirt through it very fast and get to this twist where oh, so-and-so is a cop, so therefore we hand him over and he can suddenly full on, break the story and bring everyone in. He's got this big collar, bringing everybody down. And it was just rushed and clunky, like I said. Not horrible, but not good. And the thought processes and the conversation that it should stimulate just kind of get lost because it's all just so rushed at the end of the film. So I think the audience could have been clued in a little earlier, and we would have had a better sort of buy-in to, even if they escape, they still really have to face what's on the outside. And that's interesting. That's actually almost more interesting. What happens now? You get off this island and let's say you were a teenager, but now you're off the island, but you're 40, you're 50. I mean, you're still the mind of a 10-year-old, 12-year-old, it's 15-year-old, whatever. And some of that was very interesting. Anyway, so I soft recommend. If you like his movies, I think you'll like it more than maybe a novice. If you like thrillers and suspense, I think you would enjoy it a little bit more. Or if you just want something that's, reasonably decent and thought-provoking, there's no politics, religion, woke, none of that nonsense is really relevant at all. None of that's in there. I don't think there's really any major agendas or anything like that. I think there's sort of the big pharma experimentation type stuff, but that's not political, really. I think it's more just, evil scientist kind of thing in a way. So anyway, that's my take on it. Tell me what you think, if you've seen it or if you want to see it. Like I said, soft recommend, and that's my take. And I'm Pops. Bells, buttons, subscribes, all that nonsense down there. Appreciate your time.